Welcome to the Dose of Soulful Health with Irina podcast, a place dedicated to empowering women that are embracing their soul wisdom, creating abundance for their families, and discovering more about themselves along the way. I'm Irina, your host, and I'm thrilled to create this sacred space where authenticity, connection, and personal growth bloom. Join us as we share inspiring stories, practical tips, and heartfelt conversations with women who are walking this path. Welcome to your tribe. Episode 3, celebrating the milestone of getting it done. I think too often that women entrepreneurs spend a lot of time beating themselves up and minimizing their success because we are so focused on closing out one goal and getting on to the next. And what I have found, which has been so crucial to learn, explicitly learn, is that the recognition and the celebration of these significant milestones for me is so powerful in helping me build the momentum, the motivation, and the productivity toward my next goal. So, if you've been following along, in the last 2 episodes, I was speaking a lot about imposter syndrome, how all of a sudden, it is quite unusual for me in particular, that I started to hesitate to take action because nothing really felt as though it was good enough. And I had a lot of doubts and a lot of trepidation about moving in a new way, about being able to run events that were outside of my comfort zone, really. And I want to say that I want to celebrate that event went ahead. And not only that, but the the journey of moving through that imposter syndrome is something that I also want to celebrate. A reinforcement that a bigger why can really move away a lot of barriers to getting it done. Boost the self-confidence by taking the actions that are required to actually put on that event and to follow through with the value of my creation. Celebrating milestones also triggers the release of dopamine in our brains. So, dopamine is a neurotransmitter that plays a crucial role in motivation and pleasure. And what I have found is the more that I focus on the success and the wins that I find relevant, the more that I'm hitting on the reward system that so loves to gather up these points in the game of entrepreneurship. But I want to really speak into more so the way that I celebrated, because I feel as though, particularly for women business owners, we can find it really challenging to cultivate and build a resonance of joy within our bodies. Joy that is uninhibited by shoulds, coulds, and woulds. So the way that I celebrated is I treated myself. I definitely treated myself. And what was really interesting is I treated myself before the event itself, before the completion of the bigger success, shall we say, the more visible success. I treated myself in the lead up to that event by acknowledging all the small ways that I had made progress and taken action and had conversations and put up these beautiful invitations for people to join me. along the way. I treated myself with a very expensive gift just because, I didn't want to wait till this big major thing happened, which wasn't even that big or major really, but in my mind it had been built into this big major thing. So what I did was I took myself out on a date of, and it doesn't always need to be expensive, but I wanted it to be quite extravagant. And that's only because I've started to really recognize that I am quite extravagant. And I wanted to honor that part of myself because I think I've been trying to diminish it and suppress it and push it to the side until it was more appropriate to do so. So I bought a beautiful necklace that I had no reason to have. I just wanted it because it symbolized to me the way that I had started to spread my wings, in ways that were uncomfortable, but also so deeply aligned that there was almost no other way to be. I took time to really relish the in a treat for my favorite meal at my favorite restaurant, and I invited no one else but me. I went into that restaurant and they asked me, "Are you sitting in or taking away?" And I thought to myself, I should take away because then I could go home and I can finish this and do that. And I thought, actually, is that really a way to celebrate? A celebration behind the scenes when no one is watching, and the only one that benefits really is me and the people that are coming into that event. And I thought to myself, no, actually, I'm going to really immerse myself in the joy that comes from celebrating the actions that I have taken and the ways that I have moved through these internal resistances to moving ahead and the greater vision that I have for my business. So I sat down at the restaurant, fully embraced being in that moment. I closed my eyes. I opened up a beautiful channel to visualize the person that ran that event so successfully, facilitated with all of the skills that she had now and the new skills that she was coming in to practice in. And also the way that the group of people there would resonate with the way that I was opening my heart more and more and more to success, to celebration, to joy for being exactly who I am. And that's when you know that you're starting to build up the vibration of joy within your nervous system. And it's something that I have really, really made more intentional as I've started to grow and expand and to scale into two businesses, because it really is the journey that builds your soul confidence. It really is the motions, the thoughts, and the actions behind the scene that nobody sees, the breakthroughs that you have that nobody realizes. It really is these that I want to celebrate more. I want to celebrate the accomplishments I have from, pushing through all of these random thought patterns and coming back into the magnetism of my true wealth. So I thought it might be actually really beautiful to share with you not only the ways that I celebrated on my own, but also the larger way that I celebrated the success. So I celebrated the success of actually hosting, facilitating, and bringing in that community that I so had in my field that I was calling in like honey. And I celebrated in the moment with them all together. So I was talking about how this workshop in particular had evolved into this beautiful new event that they were a vital part of, that I wouldn't be able to run this successful event without them being there, without us being together. That although I had had this individual, journey to get there, they had also as well, in the buying journey that they had, and the excuses that they had made that maybe they didn't have the time to be there, and just really celebrating the way that we were coming together to meet and connect with one another in so much more intentional ways than we could have if we had just met for a cuppa. To me, I notice that more and more and more, the actions, the thoughts, the energy expenditure, the time that I have create or that I use is so purposeful and intentional. Even the spaces of doing nothing are so intentional so that I can build more faith in myself. I know you thought I was gonna say the business, yeah. But it's to build more faith in myself, in the visions that I have, in the reason that I continually step outside of the comfort zone. And I know that many, many, many of you would be just nodding your head with outside of the comfort zone, taking scary action, noticing the fear and doing it anyway. So that is one of the ways that I really celebrated that success with others, was actually doing it in the moment in that event. The other way that I found really, really interesting was being able to share the success of that in a live. So I went live after I had been soaking in the really positive feedback that I had received from the attendees. I mean, I had glanced at it after the event and been like, oh yeah, great. Everyone's kind of, sweet, okay, found it valuable. But I didn't really take the time to absorb that because I was so busy, it felt, trying to realign all the different pieces of me that had kind of felt as though that had broken away as I had been in that container. The integration process, realigning all the parts. So after I had taken more space to integrate as a facilitator and as a member of that community, I sat down and I really read through the way that the event itself had impacted that person and the way that I had supported them to have that experience. And it just kept building this recognition of leadership, this recognition of being super proud that there is, to me, a new way of cultivating and supporting women to step into their fullness, which doesn't rely on being with me. It is about them being, exploring and gathering these different insights and self-awareness so that they can be truly who they are in connection with others at that event. And when I went live on my Facebook, I started to think about sharing the success of the way that their perspectives of that event and the impacts that that had on for them. And for someone that has not a lot of issues with going live, but making sure that the live is actually attuned to the vital message that I wanted to bring across, which was the success was not for me, that the success was for the gathering and for the people that attended that, and how beautiful it was to relay their words so that others can hear that experience and truly get a sense, even a snippet of what transpired through that event. So not only did I share it with the woman there, then I shared that with the public that viewed that live. And I believe it's been maybe almost another week since I have, less than a week, and it has had 300 views. So people were definitely watching, and they are definitely interested in the experiences that other people had, and also that there are very, very few likes on that live. And I find that very, very interesting, particularly from the people that attended. So that was really quite interesting to me. How else can we celebrate? I think I just want to really highlight a few things that I would like to, when I reflected on how I celebrated and how I can do more of it, thought about it in a couple of different ways. One, that if there is a specific event, then I want to celebrate before that event because that has already happened for me and it has happened successfully. And I want to continue that new ritual, that I want to be able to really cherish and spoil myself in the lead up to events so that I can reward myself for the very, very time intensive ways that I cultivated those participants, DMs, writing the sales page, setting up the event, all of the marketing, all of the ways that I followed those intuitive nudges to reach out to different people, the brave ways that I jumped on calls with people that were possibly interested, and that in itself is quite time intensive. So I wanted to really celebrate that as well. And also to ensure that I have that integration period so that I can truly sink in and really marinate in the success of the event thereafter by sharing it at the event itself, but also afterwards. And I would also starting to think again about when I have the down period that I have to download about the reflections and the refinements that are required for that beautiful success, because there's always building stones for ways that we can touch up and to refine and to polish up the diamond that was that event. And then I started to branch out into new thought forms about whether the results and the success that were gathered from that event were worthwhile to put on again. And even though I am continually still preparing and learning this new format, I have definitely decided to put on another event, and I have spaced it out a bit more adequately so that I have slow build up to the event and space to have a really intensive time-intensive focus and energy in the build-up to that. So it seems to me that it took a lot of the pressure and stress off, because I can always lead people to that event in the lead up if they are not quite sure about jumping in for very intensive one-to-one coaching pathways, which is what I really love to do. So in both businesses, I have committed to running the same event for my care business for around 6 months, I believe. Clocked in one, so I've got 5 more to do, and that is going to slowly start building traction in a community that's interested. And the other thing is I have put on another event for 2 months away, so it gives me a bit of breathing time and supports me to expand into the creation of that, so that I can refine it and also look about repurposing the beautiful ways that I can ensure that that experience has had a lot of my personal touches, and that expertise is really starting to develop more and more. So just as a recap, individual successful celebrations, and also community celebrations and public celebrations. And if you really want to celebrate the milestones of getting it done after imposter syndrome, then I highly, 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 highly recommend that you carve out space and time to do that intentionally. Not just being like, oh yeah, I clocked up another one, but actually building the vibrational resonance of success that is relevant to you into your nervous system and into the present moment. Congratulations, you have had a dose of soulful health. And if you have been nodding, relating, and soaking it up with curiosity, joy, and connection, hit subscribe so you can tune in for your weekly dose. Together, we can thrive with vitality and purpose. Want more information about working with me for soul confidence, mental health, and emotional well-being, so that you can balance health, wealth, and family with ease? Then message me, Soulful Health with Erina.